Hi, everyone. It's Adriana Monique Alvarez, the CEO of Alma Publishing, and I'm so excited to be with you for another So Much More story. Actually, I have this banner I've got to put up there. I remember now, this little thing on the bottom. I want to welcome Elena to this week's interview. Elena Georgiou, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you so much for inviting me. I'm very happy to share my story.
Yes. Now, tell us a little bit about yourself, and then I'll have you share your story.
Of course. After surviving decades of abuse, I channel my grief into helping others find a path to healing as a Europe ambassador, advocate, researcher, storyteller, and author. There is life after abuse, and I'm a living proof. I said yes to me, and I want other women to be able to do the same. And it takes only one person to make a difference. But if many people together work together, they can make a change. And I'm delighted to be sharing my story with you and making an impact in the world. So most people know me as a warrior and a fighter because I escaped abuse, but I'm so much more. I'm a university employee, certified vocational trainer, life skills coach, and author of 2 books, and a third to be published soon based on my real story. And it's a message to all wounded children that lived in an abusive authoritarian families. My second book, Live Life to its Fullest and Never Look Back, is taking part in the first annual book awards in conjunction with the Conference of Abuse by Hope Picks Global Organization during October in Houston, Texas. And I'm proud to announce that I'm a finalist for the book awards. And I can share my book link after we finish. And I'm a special guest to speak at the Conference of Abuse and a speaker at the Miss Texas show and to share my story. And I can share the link of my story also. And I'm a Europe ambassador of Hope Picks Global Organization, featured storyteller at World Pulse Organization, and I can share my story that was awarded also. I'm a change maker and encourager of World Pulse Organization. I'm working now on my 2 initiatives to make an impact in the world and for domestic violence and campus violence based on my 2 research on these issues. And I can share also links. And policymaker, researcher on domestic campus violence. And I'm the voice of the voiceless women of domestic and campus violence and fighting to end abuse and help other women break the silence and escape abuse. Finally, at the age of 38 years old, I passed entrance exams to study and fulfill all my childhood dreams that I wasn't allowed by my parents when I was 18. I received a bachelor's in sociology and a master's in European studies, which is a significant accomplishment for me. So I transformed from victim to survivor to a life winner and accomplisher. And I dedicate this story that you're about to watch and listen up to all women that are victims of abuse to inspire them to follow my lead and break the silence. And there is life after abuse, and I am a living proof. I said yes to me and no to my abusers, and I want other women to be able to do the same.
Wow, Elena. All right. Well, I cannot wait to hear your story. Please take it away.
All right. So this is my story. After surviving decades of abuse, I decided that I had enough. Instead of sitting in misery land, I chose to live a life full of joy, laughter, accomplishments, and I succeeded in doing this. As a warrior woman, I discovered my mission. Unfortunately, was tied up in my wound, but I also found my source of light, and it's my voice, truth, and justice. And all these are sources that I use daily. My call to justice came from a deeply personal experience, yet it serves humanity and the collective. My mission came from inside out and transformed my suffering into purpose. Through my life's hardships, I accepted that I was strong enough and nothing could break me. My wounds were my source of empowerment, and that's how I discovered my true calling, my passion, my purpose, and my unique critical mission and service to humanity. I also decided to use my powerful voice and story. Of course, it takes a lot of courage and vulnerability to break the silence and open up worldwide, but I decided to do it. I lived in an abusive environment from childhood until adulthood. Growing up, I faced physical, emotional, verbal abuse. I dreamed of studying abroad at a university, but my parents had other dreams for me to marry and have children. So I was looking for an exit door. When I started dating my future husband at the age of 18, I imagined he could offer me all that affection I wanted to receive. I thought I would gain freedom, but my life became a scary movie. Before escaping this nightmare, I endured my husband's abuse for 20 years. And in this abusive marriage, I wasn't allowed to work or socialize. Instead, I stayed home for 10 years raising my children. And one day I decided to apply for a job and started working at the university where I am still working until now. When my abuser found out, he beat me up. And the same happened when I passed the entrance exams to study at the university. And the same situation was going up for 20 years. But this was the first time I stood up for myself and I insisted on continuing working despite his objections. The university was not only a place for me as a job, it was not only a university for my studies and research and that I accomplished all my childhood dreams. It was not only that, but it was that exit door I was looking for as a young woman. And as I said before, I faced victimization from my parents and my abuser for 20 years. Also, I met victimization from the court, while my abuser was set free, paying a small amount for the repeated abuse he caused me for 20 years instead of going to jail. On top of all this, he was with 2 years suspended imprisonment for beating someone else besides me, and the authorities knew about it. But he was presented in court with clear criminal record and that it was his first episode of abuse, which was a lie. So I also faced victimization from the bank that took all my money away because I signed a loan for my abuser. Also, I own half of a house that my abuser is living in it, and I can't get my share because I missed out the deadline of the law that says 3 years after divorce, I had to do it. So after escaping all this nightmare, finally, I won back my voice and power. And today, I'm working on creating a better world for abuse victims. I'm working on my two initiatives, on my research, domestic violence and campus violence. My first initiative is to break the silence and reform the existing system by creating a new specialist center that will support my second also initiative for safe universities and campus violence. I am in the process of creating and making it happen. So if anyone wants to help out, don't hesitate to contact me. So my vision is the creation of this center for victims and survivors, and it will have under its umbrella the police, the welfare, and NGOs. There is a need for this center. There is no primary data collection between governmental and non-governmental organizations. So unfortunately, no cross-checking for previous validations of the perpetrators in court, and victims face secondary victimization, and abusers are not in jail because of this. So furthermore, the center will also have free support for victims and survivors from lawyers, therapists, doctors, educational programs, and research, helpline, reporting to the court, and improvements in the policies and procedures, which I made myself. And all the above was part of my research, and I have my proposal ready, and this is my vision. And I intend to help victims break the silence and escape abuse. I imagine a world where victims could feel safe to report and receive justice from the law and the court. And that is my vision and my mission. It's terrifying for a victim to escape without help and support. But being a victim myself, I know. I obeyed rules, I felt not enough, was ashamed of who I was, and was not allowed to raise my voice and have an opinion. So children growing up in this kind of abusive environments are scared to free themselves from victimhood, even after adulthood, because their parents never gave them space to flourish or allowed them to make their own decisions. So they control them. They tend to walk now in life seeking approval and are afraid to escape their misery land and free themselves from victimhood. So it takes a lot of courage to walk away and say no to abuse. I know because I was a victim. So I was a victim that escaped and thrived. So I wrote a book that today is taking part in the International Book Awards as a finalist. And with my story and my books, I want to show people how to live life to its fullest and never look back, heal them from past events, and fulfill my vision, my mission, and destiny. And this is my story, my powerful story. And I will continue to share my story and encourage others and inspire them to follow my lead. And today I'm working on creating a better world for abuse victims. And I can share details of my work if anyone wants to read it.
I just realized I was muted. I had muted myself because there was like a dump truck in the background. What an incredible story, and what courage it takes to break away from, the parents' will and then your spouse and all of the components that you had going on. Wow. Well,
Wow.
I would love for you to, when this finishes, go ahead and put in the comments the links to your various books, because I know you have a lot of things that you have that you can share, so that people can reach out to you, whether they're going through this or they would like to partake in your vision and your mission and support you in this.
Yes, right. I would be honored to share my story with worldwide, even with podcasts, live podcasts, summits, conferences, and any speaking opportunities as a keynote speaker. I would love to do that. And if you enjoy my story and people would want to connect with me, they can do it from my YouTube channel, my Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, my authors page, my storyteller page on World Pulse, or by email, direct message. And I publish regularly on social media my inspiring stories, my messages, my articles, live broadcasts, interviews. So if anyone wants to connect with me, it's really easy. Just Google my names, and I'm all over the place.
Yes, you are. I love that. And Elena, where are you joining us from today?
I am living in Cyprus, Europe. I used to live in the States in New York. I lived there for 3 years, but now I'm living in Cyprus.
Amazing.
Yes.
Well, I'm so glad that we can make the college is there.
Technology is amazing.
Oh, technology is amazing. It's like, look what we can do. Well, and this is why the world, we can shrink down and we can support each other so much, because we have so many tools right at our fingertips.
Yeah. And it's the only way for our voices to be heard in this world. There's no other way.
Absolutely. Use what we have right in front of us. Elena, thank you so much for your willingness to share your story.
Thank you very much for inviting me.
Yeah, absolutely. You are showing so many others how they too can create a life for themselves, a life outside of what they've known. I encourage you all to connect with Elena and help her find new places to share her story and to bring her work to the world. I so appreciate you. Until next time, here is to using your voice. It's where all your power lies. I shall talk to you soon.
Thank you. Thank you.